Welcome, friends. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me here today. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to hit the like button and share my video with anyone interested. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel to see more content. I hope everyone's week is going well. I'm slowly getting back into the swing of things on YouTube after such a wonderful breakaway with my family in January. And with the new year, all of you know what that means. I share my annual doll collecting goals for 2025 with you. I know it's a little bit late, but better late than never. And I have my rare vintage Toodles doll joining me here today. She is the Big Baby Toodles doll. I recently did a box opening for her, and I'll include it in the description box, a link if you're interested in checking it out. Now, she is my most recent acquisition in my doll collection, and I actually need some help from you choosing a suitable name for her. And I've recently posted a poll on my YouTube community page. So please head over there and vote for your favourite name. And I'm going to announce it in this week's Casual Fun Friday video. So stay tuned for that as well. I am so thrilled to bits with this gorgeous little vintage doll, and she has the sweetest outfit. And as I said, in her box opening video, I talk more about her details. So as I was saying, I'm a little bit late getting this video uploaded. 2025 has already been a very busy time for me with lots of family responsibilities. And for me, the new year always brings in, resolutions and new goals. And of course, every year I sit down and I work out what my doll collecting goals are for the year. What does that mean? Well, I generally sit down and think about what types of dolls I aspire to have in my collection. Plus, it includes any other goals associated with my doll collecting hobby. And as my regular viewers already know, I've been collecting dolls for over 40 years. And during that time, there's been lots of peaks and troughs in my collecting. Some years there's an abundance of dolls that join my collection, and other years it's like a drought, like I just step away from the hobby for a while. For me, what I find works best is setting goals for my doll collecting hobby, because I can set a realistic budget and then I can start focusing on the list. And I think that's where some people become a little bit undone when they join the hobby, because they're not seriously thinking about, well, what's my budget? What can I afford to spend? And when you've got your budget, then you can really start to hone in. Well, I feel personally, you can really start to hone in on exactly what you want to get with that money. Basically, without a list, I find it's really easy to get distracted with what becomes available, because let's face it, there are so many good dolls out there. There isn't a doll I don't like. So a list is perfect for keeping me on track with my goals, and in the end it does save me a lot of money. Now, this year is interesting because my goals are different to what they've been in the last, say, previous 5 years. Last year I was really distracted quite a lot offline due to family matters. So I wasn't able to enjoy my hobby to the fullest. In fact, I really felt like I neglected my hobby, and I really missed it a lot. And so my main goal this year is to find enough time to enjoy my hobby so that I can share it with you on my YouTube channel. Speaking of my YouTube channel, I will continue to keep it fun and inclusive, and most importantly, drama-free. And the reason why I'm emphasising this particular point is because last year as you know, I wasn't on YouTube much due to outside family commitments. And when I did manage to find some time to get online. It was really so discouraging to see a whole lot of ugly nonsense and drama play out in the doll community on YouTube, particularly in the reborn community. And it all started with what I will call Picklegate, after the sculptor of that kit went ballistic online after their kit was copied. And then it progressed into much uglier behaviour, with friends or allies in the hobby turning on one another. And that was really disheartening to watch unfold. So when I've been stressing out, and I do stress out a lot outside of YouTube because I've got a lot on my plate, caring for sick elderly family members. So it's both my parents, so my mother and father, have serious medical conditions, and so do my in-laws, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. And so when I'm not trying to raise a family and work and all the other things that are associated with that, I'm trying to do my best to care for them as well. And so, how do I put this? The last thing I want to see online in my hobby is things like backbiting and one-upping and squabbling. Please don't take it the wrong way. You know, I realise people are entitled to their own opinions, and you can say what you want on your own channel. And, you know, I do enjoy videos that discuss very interesting and helpful topics, but I'm just not a fan of watching people. There's a term we use in Australia. It's called slagging off. Excuse me. So I'm not a fan of watching people slag off about others. So basically talking negatively, and negatively in a rude way. Because you can, as I said, you can have an opinion, and then there's just being rude. And as I said, we have a slang term for that here in Australia, and it's called it's when you slag somebody off, and it's when you say the most disgusting things about them. And Australians, we pride ourselves not slagging off about other people. It's just something that we don't aspire to do. So when you see people like really, another way of referring to it, and probably a much nicer way of referring to it, is when you character assassinate somebody. And that's what I was seeing, a lot of character assassination. And like I said, it's fine to have opinions and ideas about things, but when you start to character assassinate others, it's not good viewing. It's not enjoyable to watch, and it really doesn't do anything for the hobby. I'm just not a fan of the character assassinating stuff. I think it's immature behaviour, and it does nothing to reduce the stigma that's often associated with our hobby. And I think we have to keep that in mind. We want to attract people to the doll collecting hobby, and we certainly don't want them thinking that we're bananas. Do you know what I mean? That we're a bunch of nutbags, because we're not. So I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. So with that in mind, the only other thing I have to say on this matter is that some people in this hobby, they need to do better in 2025. So this year, I hope to keep my doll collecting goals in the single digits. And I've said this before, and it hasn't happened. But anyway, it's good to have goals to aspire to. And look, I'm not going to beat myself up about it if I end up collecting more than 5 dolls this year. But, you know, that seems like a manageable number. And recently I purchased quite a rare vintage doll from overseas, actually 2 of them. And this one's new. And I did the box opening on the reborn doll. So we're kind of getting up to 4. So, but anyway, it's good to have goals, like I said. So yeah, I've got a couple of vintage dolls, rare ones coming from overseas soon. So I'll be really excited to share those with you on the channel. I do have a reborn toddler doll that will be that I'll be doing a box opening on this year as well, that I'm really excited to share with you too. So from time to time with my doll collecting goals, it's also going to include things like making a list of dolls that I'm going to part with. Now, this doesn't happen often in my nursery because I don't tend to be an impulse buyer, but there is potentially a couple of dolls that I might be putting up for sale this year. And I'm telling you, with the Australian dollar trading so weakly, like it's so weak compared to other currencies, e.g., for example, the US dollar, there are going to be some bargains. So I'll keep you posted on that. So my US friends, if you're looking to get a good deal, perhaps on a reborn doll or two, stay tuned to the channel, because the way that our currency is trading, you're going to get such a good deal. And even with postage, because like postage is horrendously expensive from generally from America to Australia, and normally, vice versa. But with our dollar being so weak, in American dollars, the postage will be quite good. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. And another goal I have that's been carried over from last year is reorganising and decorating my nursery. I actually didn't get to achieve this goal last year because I was very, very busy attending to family matters, with my in-laws and my parents all experiencing a number of health issues due to their age. So if all goes well, fingers crossed, I might be able to give you a nursery tour later this year. Now, let's move on to the exciting part. Let's move on to the actual wish list. So I've compiled a list of the types of dolls that I would like to collect, basically in the future. So, I'll put it on a list for 2025. But if I don't get it this year, then it's something that's basically going to roll over in subsequent years. So let's move on to the list. So starting off with goal number 1, I would love to see maybe 1 or 2 more reborn dolls join my collection. I actually thought I was finished with collecting reborn dolls, but late last year, the interest sparked again. However, this time I'm leaning more towards open-eyed dolls and probably more toddler-aged dolls. So the last closed eye or sleeping reborn doll that recently joined my collection was the August Asleep by Dawn McLeod. And I'd been waiting years for that kit to join my collection, and I'm so thrilled that she's finally here. But having said that, I also think that this might be the last closed eye doll for a while. Unless, of course, Allura by Bonnie Brown becomes available. But I have quite a list of specific requirements for Allura, so it may be a long time before I find the right one. As a long-time vintage doll collector, obviously, vintage dolls are also high on my list of priorities for this year. Last year, I felt that my doll collecting was very reborn doll heavy, and so I kind of want to move away from that and explore other options. So this year, I will definitely be keeping my eye out for any Paddy Play Pal and Friends dolls. I would love a Saucy doll in my collection, and obviously some of the others that are part of this group of dolls. However, all these types of dolls are really challenging to find in good condition, especially here in Australia, because they're an American-made vintage doll. They are super expensive to buy because of the exchange rate. And the shipping, which is also in US dollars, is absolutely horrific as well. So the likelihood of finding these dolls, it's pretty slim, but I'll keep dreaming nonetheless. And as I said, it's probably more a long-term goal. It's probably something that's not going to happen this year, but I do hope it happens in years to come. So the last type of doll on my list are Blythe dolls. And my viewers will recall late last year, I started collecting Blythe dolls. So I'm actually very new. I'm a real newbie to collecting Blythe. And I do hope to enjoy more of the Blythe hobby this year by immersing myself more in that particular community and learning a lot more about this type of doll and the hobby. It's really fun. It's very different to other types of dolls that I've collected, and it's exciting. I'm loving the fashions that you can buy for the dolls. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to exploring that more this year. So that's a wrap on my doll collecting goals for 2025. Do you have any goals for doll collecting this year? If you do, I would love to hear what they are down in the comments section below. And remember, please hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video and consider subscribing to my channel. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye for now. Remember, go over and vote for her name on my YouTube community page. Bye, guys.